Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news and transfer news show. In today's video, we're going to be discussing all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more. Glad to see Anthony Martial back in training and beating Sociedad Villa and Fulham next. So Serene and I agree. We've got lots to talk about. We've got new contracts to Rashford. Likes of Garnacho. We've got Rashford coming out and talking about how negative Man United was last season, how, just the vibe around Manchester United was awful last season. Pelestri's agent said that he will be leaving Manchester United, and a lot of other news as well about Diogo Costa to Manchester United, Frimpong to Manchester United, even news about Max Aarons to Manchester United as well. The England squad for the World Cup is out as well, which we will react to as well. Rio Ferdinand's come out and slammed Souness and Carragher for criticising Lisandro Martinez. Graeme Souness saying that Casemiro isn't that good and he'd take Declan Rice over Casemiro. When does Graeme Souness not spit absolute shit? But looking at the positives, another win for Manchester United, another big win for Manchester United against West Ham, and a 2-0 win against Real Sociedad on Thursday means that we will top the Europa League group, so we won't have to play the teams that come down from the Champions League. But Martial is back in training. Toney is back in training. We will discuss the Villa game at the weekend because basically Bruno Fernandes will not be able to play in that Villa game. So people say, does Sancho play 10? Does McTominay play 10? Does Toney play 10? Does Eriksen even play 10? And it goes McTominay and Casemiro in midfield. Let me know in the chat before I get into the news, who would you play as a 10? But I just want to quickly throw out there, guys, before I dive into this story and everything, that this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app. As you can see on my screen is the OneFootball app. I've been going through this for you guys. Obviously, the Champions League tonight, final group fixtures begin. Liverpool, unfortunately, will be through, but they've got Napoli, but I know Tottenham have got a difficult game against Marseille. So here on the OneFootball app, as you can see, guys, it will keep me up to date on all these teams, all the Champions League news, and all the footballing news around the world that you need to stay up to date on. So make sure, if you have not already, that you do go ahead and check out the OneFootball app, guys, because it's completely free. There's a link in the description. There's a link pinned in the chat to go check out the OneFootball app. But let's dive into the footballing news and stories. Let's go and dive into some of the things that I want to talk about. And the main thing being what I spoke about yesterday. I want to quickly address this because I want you guys to, comment your opinions and stuff on this. But Graeme Souness came out and said that Lisandro Martinez is not good on the ball. Graeme bloody Souness does not watch football. That is what I said. I said because Lisandro Martinez's best attribute is his ball-playing ability, breaking lines. There's actually a statistic that I found on Twitter which proves that Lisandro Martinez is the best ball-playing centre-back in Europe. And Graeme Souness was criticising Martinez and saying he doesn't like him because he's not that good on the ball. So because he can't criticise him not winning aerial duels, because even though he's small, he's winning his aerial duels, Graeme Souness has basically come out and made up that Lisandro Martinez isn't good on the ball to fit his own agenda, which is absolutely false. If it had gone Lisandro Martinez is small and is a little bit aggressive and reckless, not my kind of defender, factual, but I disagree. That still doesn't make him a bad defender. But he's actually lying. My big problem with Graeme Souness is he's actually lying. He's saying Casemiro was carried by Real Madrid. He's an average player that will do a job. I'd take Declan Rice over Casemiro, says Souness. And then he also says that he doesn't rate Martinez, which is fine. Everyone's allowed their opinion. But to say Martinez is not good on the ball, as Nick said, Martinez is probably the best ball player back in the Premier League, is wrong. It's wrong. Like, that is like me going, nah, Lionel Messi isn't even top 100 players in the world. That'd be me. Like, but as soon as saying Martinez isn't good on the ball, it's like me saying, oh, Messi isn't an elite playmaker. Scott McTominay is a better playmaker than Messi. It's like, I prefer Ronaldo over Messi, and I'm a Ronaldo fangirl, but I will use my eyes and be like, okay, Messi's good on the ball. That's like me saying Manchester City are cheats, frauds, and they pay the reps. That's why they're good. No, it's not why they're good. I mean, they do get the odd dodgy decision, but realistically, they're good because they've got a good structure. They've got good owners and stuff. And I think Souness actually saying Lisandro Martinez isn't good on the ball is a joke. But I'm just seeing a lot of people saying we should try Toney as a 10 on Thursday because no Bruno against Villa at the weekend. So do we play Toney? Do we play Toney? Do we play Sancho? A lot of you saying let's give Toney a go at the weekend as well. But Souness is a twat. He doesn't know ball. He doesn't. Like, I have agendas. I don't like Arsenal and I don't like Liverpool. And I don't like Man City, but I don't care about City. Like, for me, the two teams I hate the most is Liverpool first, Arsenal second, then probably Man City third, but they're not big enough to give a shit about City. But I won't sit here and say, oh, Arsenal are shit, because Arsenal are good right now. When Arsenal are doing shit, I love to banter them. I love to go in on Arsenal. But when Sane comes in the chat and he starts going, oh, did you see Arsenal's masterclass, Alice? When Sane comes in and talks about Arsenal, I can't sit there and go, Sane, you're bullshitting Arsenal crap, because they're not crap. As much as I was slagging off Thomas Partey, who I don't like as a person, but he is a good player, I can't sit there and say he's a bad player, because he's not. I use my eyes. He might be a disgusting person, but he's a good football player. As much as I, at first was slandering Bukayo Saka, I've grown to really like Bukayo Saka, and I think he's a good player. As much as I want to say that Martial's better than every Arsenal player, I can't say that. And it's like, with Souness, I get he doesn't like Man United. I get he has a Man United agenda. But to be sitting there going, Casemiro shit, Casemiro bang average, he's carried by Real Madrid, still not that convinced on Casemiro, and to go, oh, Lisandro Martinez, you know what, Souness sits there, he names his team of the week, he goes Dalot, he goes De Gea, he goes Maguire, not Lisandro Martinez. He then says, oh, Martinez, he's okay, but he says Maguire's better than Martinez. It's like, if Lisandro Martinez was called Liam Martin, and he was British, and he was 6'4", and Souness would be fucking creaming over him. Creaming. It's the, the flirting versus harassment memes. That's what it is with Souness and, foreign players. And you know what the funny thing of all is? Martinez has that number 6 Paul Pogba shirt. Martinez has the number 6 Paul Pogba shirt. And we know how Graeme Souness feels about number 6s at Manchester United. But I did have to talk about that, because Souness was absolutely talking at his work, talking at his arse. Tree, thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Alice, love your enthusiasm and content. Keep up the great work. Big up. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it as well. They're jealous that Fabinho isn't as good. Yeah, he's just jealous that he starts over Fabinho for Brazil. You know, it'd be interesting if someone on talksport said, oh, but he starts over Fabinho for Brazil. I wonder what Souness would say to that. Souness would still say Fabinho's better. Souness would still be saying, oh, Fabinho's the best and Casemiro's carried by Real Madrid, even though he's being brilliant for United as well. And Souness was shy on the ball as well. But honestly, Man United, I will say this now, live rent-free in Souness's head. Absolutely rent-free. I'd rather watch Roy Keane, as Steve said. Like, even Liverpool fans don't like Souness. This is the thing. Jamie Carragher spat a lot of shit about Lisandro Martinez. And Jamie Carragher has a Ronaldo agenda. But Jamie Carragher, in general, has some decent football takes. There's times when Carragher will say something and I'm like, he's right. And there's times where, Carragher he gets it wrong. Every pundit gets it wrong. But at least Carragher, to an extent, has some decent footballing takes. And I feel like Carragher wouldn't be coming out now saying Lisandro's been crap. He'll be saying, oh, when he addresses it, which he won't, he will probably admit that Lisandro's been decent. But Graeme Souness is a different level to Jamie Carragher. Gary Neville gets things wrong. Jamie Carragher gets things wrong. Half the people on talksport get things wrong. Gabby Abon-Lahore has one of the worst ball knowledge in the world. But Graeme Souness, I don't think he gets anything right. At least with the other people, they get things right, and you can tell they've watched a few games and they have a few biased opinions and stuff. Your Roy Keane might have a bit of a biased opinion, but he gets it right for the most part. Graeme Souness, I can't actually remember the last time he said something good. I can't remember the last time something came out of his mouth that wasn't shy. I actually am convinced that Graeme Souness doesn't watch football and will just say the worst opinion he can to stay relevant and get clicks. Because this guy is only relevant because he just chats crap. He went in on Paul Pogba. The thing is, do you know what the funny thing about the Graeme Souness is? Man United could win a game 5-0 and he'd say after the game, oh, I don't like that Pogba haircut. Man United could get a clean sheet every game for the rest of the season, and Lisandro Martinez could play every game for the rest of the season and break the clean sheet record. And Graeme Souness will go, nah, don't think he's that good. I think Maguire did all the work. Because he's just got this real weird Man United agenda. And I want to show you a statistic. I think the thing that's really bugging me today, and I don't know if you've seen it all over social media, I don't know if you've seen it all over Twitter, is everyone's comparing Declan Rice and Casemiro. I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but everyone is comparing Declan Rice and Casemiro. And I just sit there and I think, surely it's not a comparison. Why are we comparing Declan Rice and Casemiro? Like, look at this. Let me zoom out a bit. Oh, zoom out a bit more. One sec. Can you see that? It's ESPN. Start one, drop one. Declan Rice, Casemiro. Why are we comparing someone that's won 5 Champions League, just at the end of the peak of his career, doing brilliant in the Premier League, one of the best DMs of all time, in one of the most successful Real Madrid teams of all sides of time against Declan Rice. Now, in a few years, Declan Rice will be better than Casemiro because Declan Rice will be in his prime and Casemiro will be aging. Right now, I'd still take Casemiro over Declan Rice, but for longevity, I'd take Declan Rice. I do think Declan Rice is a fantastic player. But why have you got the likes of Souness saying Declan Rice is better than Casemiro, who was carried by Real Madrid? Why are we comparing Casemiro and Declan Rice? You know, you can compare Declan Rice to Casemiro when he's 30 and at the end of his career. But you can't compare Declan Rice to Casemiro now when one's not won a trophy and the other one's won the Champions League so many times. He probably loses count of how many trophies he's won. It's so forced. I feel like the things people will do for clicks is actually just so forced. But going back to what I wanted to show you here, this was an interesting stat. So this is by Opta Joe, and this is the fewest goals conceded per 90 for central defender partnerships with 5+ co-starts in the Premier League this season. And Martinez and Rafael Varane rank third here. So only Tarkowski and Botman and Cody and Botman and Shaw have a better defensive record than Martinez and Varane. And if you really want some more statistics on that, if you took away the Man City game where United fucked it up and conceded about 3 goals in 5 minutes, Martinez and Varane would be first. So Martinez, who Jamie Carragher won't give any credit to, Graeme Souness is still slagging off, but giving credit to Maguire, who hasn't been a part of our last 9 Premier League games, is not getting any credit from these pundits because he's not English and they don't want to admit they're wrong. If he's called Liam Martin and he's a 6-foot British bald centre-back player like that, everyone, he'd be getting best centre-back in the world shouts to the media. Martinez right now, best centre-back in the Premier League. But imagine if he was some British lad and, he was 6'4" and he was all British and, classic, they'd be saying, oh, he's up there with your John Terrys, they'd probably be saying. You know what they're like. You know what they're like when it comes to an English player. But, this stat just highlights how good they've been, how good Lisandro Martinez has been. But Graeme Souness won't want to hear that Casemiro is better than Fabinho. And Graeme Souness won't want to hear that Lisandro Martinez has been better than every fucking Liverpool player this season as well. Graeme Souness will say Maguire's been good, but he won't say at all that Lisandro Martinez has been good as well. If Liverpool signed Casemiro, Souness would be calling him the best in the world exactly as well. And Souness was a terrible manager outside of Rangers. The Scousers hated him for sure. He just knows nothing. And look, this is the thing I'll talk about with Souness. Souness's football knowledge goes back to the medieval times, before I was born, a long time ago. And football has changed so much. And the way we play football now and the type of footballers we need now is so different to 30 years ago. 30 years ago, Souness's footballing opinions could be spot on. When Souness is playing with Souness's manager, his footballing opinions might be spot on. You want that classic 4-4-2, Sean Dyche, Brexit kind of vibe footballers. That was the way, 30 odd years ago. But all the most successful teams, the Man Cities, the Liverpool, well, they only won 1 Premier League title when their golden era lull. But even Arsenal right now, you look at your Bayern Munichs, you look at your Real Madrids, all the big teams, all the good teams right now, they all play this modern football, very different to when Souness was around. Very different style of football, very different style of play. And Souness, I don't think, has accepted that football has changed, football is modernised. And I think his opinions are still based off the medieval bloody times when, back in the day, maybe Lisandro Martinez's ball playing ability wouldn't be seen as such a good thing. Now, centre backs that are good on the ball is such a big thing. 5 years ago, being a great shot stopper, David De Gea was all they wanted. Now they want goalkeepers to be involved in build-up play. Football's changed. Look at the way we played under Sir Alex Ferguson, 4-4-2. All the good teams now play 4-3-3. It's like football has changed. And if you can't accept that, Lisandro Martinez, a modern techie baller, is a good centre-back and he can do it at 5'9" in the Premier League because he's got the ability to read the game, and that Pure and Cannavaro were also good centre-backs, then you need to jog on. You're paid to give opinions and you let your bias get in the way, you let your agendas get in the way. And I just think he's really out of touch. It's like showing an 80-year-old woman Instagram. So 80-year-old woman's never used social media in life, never used Instagram. It's like Souness with the football right now. He's still stuck in his times. And I think, he just chats so much shit as well. We will get into the Wan Bissaka stuff and we'll get into the other news because I don't want to be going on about Souness all video. But Paul 2-0 up, Atletico need Bruges to beat Leverkusen. Could Atletico Madrid get knocked out of the Champions League? We will look at the Champions League scores and that in a second as well. And Souness probably doesn't watch any of live games, watches about 10 minutes match of the day. Yeah, I'm convinced. When Souness said Lisandro Martinez isn't good on the ball, I'm convinced he probably watched Martinez play the Brentford game and the Liverpool game, and that's it. Because everyone knows Lisandro Martinez's best attribute is his ability on the ball. And I think that just proves that Souness does not watch Man United if he doesn't rate Casemiro and he doesn't think Lisandro Martinez is good on the ball. Because Casemiro has been our best player, and Martinez has been our best player, and they're the two players Souness is slagging off. I'm surprised Souness hasn't blamed Juventus going out the Champions League with Pogba yet. I know Pogba's not even playing. Thank you, Cuddler's Life, for the super chat. A Bon Lahore shouldn't be able to speak on footy. Talksport love a Bon Lahore because he chats so much shit that everyone interacts with it, being like, what the hell? A Bon Lahore sat there and went, I would take this player. I think who did he take? Who would he take? I'd take Webster over Varane. And Bon Lahore said that Webster's a better centre back than Lisandro Martinez and Varane. Webster. And I rate Webster, but calm down, Gabby Bon Lahore as well. Calm the hell down. And I think Talksport smart. Talksport hire people like Bon Lahore and Souness to chat crap because they know it gets clicks. They have good people on Talksport as well. Like Laura Woods is quite good. She's got some sense, but they have got a lot of people there who just absolutely talks chat shit and just got their agendas in the way. Ajax 5-0 up against Rangers. I'll check the Champions League scores. But look, guys, we're 54 likes away from 100 likes. So please do smash that like button if you have not already. And, of course, subscribe down below as well. And Souness was a wussy crybaby. And Souness can't criticise Virgil van Dijk. He's taking it out on others. Exactly. But I want to get into a few things, a few bits and pieces here. So let me actually get the Graeme Souness quotes up. First of all, is that zoomed in a bit? Look, that's zoomed in a bit too much. Where's search? Let me get this up here, people. So Graeme Souness obviously said back in August when Man United signed Casemiro. This is what Graeme Souness had to say when Manchester United signed Casemiro. Graeme Souness says, Casemiro isn't a great player. He's never been. I think he was lucky to be in the Real Madrid team. I am not even lying. This is what Graeme Souness had to say on Casemiro. He's not a great player. He never has been. And he was lucky to get in the Real Madrid team. What is this guy on? You know, there's times where players are lucky to get in the team where I think, you know, Man United the last few years have carried McTominay and Fred because we've got no one else. But if Casemiro is playing almost every week for a side that's won 5 Champions Leagues and a side that's won multiple La Ligas, and he's playing every week in the most important position on the pitch, which is DM, controls the game, I don't think he's lucky. I don't think he's lucky as well. I don't, you know, it's because he's come, and you know what's proved it? Is he's come to United, he's playing in a midfield, which is nowhere near the level of Kroos and Modric, and he's doing it in the United midfield. And you know what's crazy? Is I think Casemiro now, I didn't know how good Casemiro was on the ball. I said Casemiro is brilliant off the ball, but he lacks on the ball. And do you know what it is? Do you know what it is, guys? Because Modric and Kroos were so good, they made Casemiro look worse than he is, because Casemiro didn't have to do anything going forward because Modric and Kroos would do it all for him, so he could focus solely on defending. But now Casemiro is playing with not as good midfielders as Modric and Kroos, and he's playing in a much worse side. I almost think Casemiro looks better for it because I'm like, oh my God, Casemiro has this to his game, which I didn't see at Real Madrid because I guess Real Madrid was so good he didn't need to do that. So if anything, Casemiro has completely proven Souness wrong because literally Casemiro has come into United squad. He's absolutely playing well. He's much better than we thought. Now, I knew he was a good player, but he's doing things like on the ball that I didn't think he had in his locker. And I'm sitting there thinking, because he was at such a super team like Real Madrid, it hid how good he was. When you do that and you transform United, you know, look at how we were getting beaten in midfield before Casemiro came in. Beaten in midfield. As soon as Casemiro's come in, United are dominating possession all their games, winning the ball back in the final third a lot more because the team can push higher up the pitch because they know Casemiro will protect the defence. The ball recoveries. No players averaged more tackles per game than Casemiro since he's come into the United team. United now pushing higher up the pitch because Casemiro can protect the defence. United are winning the ball back more in the final third. Casemiro breaking play. Casemiro breaking the lines. Casemiro protecting the defence. Casemiro getting Harry Maguire a clean fucking sheet. All right? Does that make sense to you guys? He's good. And Graeme Souness goes, he isn't a great player. He never has been. I think he was lucky to be in that Real Madrid side. He absolutely knows sod all. Sod all as well. He is just bitter. He is just bitter. Have you been following Madrid? You can't score much against them either. I haven't followed Real Madrid much this season, but I did watch a bit of Real Madrid back in the day when Ronaldo was at them, you know, right in their prime when they won all those Champions Leagues in a row. And 5 Champions Leagues must be really lucky. This just shows you were a good player and not a good analyst. 100%. 100% as well. And honestly, I generally think Souness is on drugs, as someone said as well. So Graeme Souness, again, was asked about Casemiro and if he takes back his comments after Casemiro being unbeaten in starts for Manchester United. And obviously, Graeme Souness, being Graeme Souness, won't take back his comments. Graeme Souness said on Casemiro, he was playing with great players. He's not a great player. He's never been a great player. I see him as a steady Eddie who will help United be more solid in midfield. So again, this is what Casemiro had to say on Lisandro Martinez, that he's a steady... Casemiro. This is what Graeme Souness had to say on Casemiro, that he's a steady Eddie. Graeme Souness also said, I don't see Casemiro as a great player. He's a good, steady Eddie. Casemiro is a 7 or 7.5 out of 10 every week. He's good, but not great. Graeme Souness stands by that. So Graeme Souness yesterday got asked if he still stands by his Lisandro Martinez and Casemiro comments he made in the summer, and Graeme Souness said yes. The AM Souness said, yes, Graeme Souness is still saying Casemiro is average despite recent games, and Graeme Souness is still slagging off Mr. Lisandro Martinez as well. And as Daniel says, Souness is a silly man, and Alice has put Souness back in his box, says Diogo as well. Do smash that like button. We need Declan or Caicedo to replace Fred or Toney. Moises Caicedo has been linked to United today, actually, quickly. And Moises Caicedo, Brighton are saying, if we want Moises Caicedo, we'll have to give them £80 million. Do you know what's mad? Is Man United could have signed Moises Caicedo for 4 million a year and a half ago, and now we're being quoted at £80 million if we want Moises Caicedo. It's absolutely crazy. United not spending in January, missing out on Moises Caicedo. I mean, luckily we've got Casemiro, but you know, if you've got the opinion of Graeme Souness, then Casemiro is just a steady Eddie, an average footballer. Casemiro was lucky to play for Real Madrid. Casemiro was lucky to be in the Real Madrid side, guys. Casemiro isn't that good, according to Graeme Souness. So, you know, maybe we should have got Caicedo, but only joking around. But I want to talk about a few other things as well. You know, we could go on and on about all the crap Graeme Souness has said, but I don't have 25 hours to be live because I honestly could talk about how much waffles come out of Graeme Souness' mouth for about 5 weeks straight. And I'm going back to the Pogba stuff. I'm not even talking about the shit he said on Casemiro and Lisandro. Now, I do want to talk about Rashford a little bit in this video, guys. Remember, Marcus Rashford came out, and I don't know if you watched my video earlier, guys, but Marcus came out and spoke about how Man United was really toxic last season, and one of the reasons he's in a much better place is because he's in a much better place off the field mentally. The environment, United is so much better since Ten Hag's come in, and Rashford basically said that Ten Hag came in and removed the toxicity from United, and I do want to get into that in a second. I do also want to throw out that Martial is back. And I do also want to get into Everett's comments on Rashford, on, of course, Lisandro Martinez, and on Maguire as well. But I want to quickly, before I start banging on about Graeme Souness for much longer, let me just take a quick swig of water. Really thirsty. I want to quickly talk about Wan Bissaka. So basically, Wan Bissaka's done. Like, Wan Bissaka at United, guys, it is done. Like, he is not wanted. And the reason I say that is, when we played West Ham, when Man United played West Ham, guys, we had one defender on the bench in Malacia and 2 goalkeepers. The only defender on the whole bench versus West Ham was Malacia. No centre-backs, no right, but Malacia. Because Ten Hag will play Malacia right back if something happens to Dalot, not Wan Bissaka. Wan Bissaka is fit. Wan Bissaka's back at United. Wan Bissaka's in training. Ten Hag has no defenders to put on the bench because Lindelof's injured, Varane's injured, and he puts 2 goalkeepers on the bench instead of Wan Bissaka. Ten Hag played Lindelof at right back in the Europa League game instead of Wan Bissaka. Ten Hag's given Wan Bissaka 4 minutes of football this season, has not dropped Dalot, has played Lindelof and Malacia right back, will not even put Wan Bissaka on the bench. Toney gets straight back on the bench, Maguire gets straight back on the bench, Martial gets straight back on the bench, Wan Bissaka doesn't. Wan Bissaka is done at United. And I suspect from things you hear, but you don't know are true or not, so take it with a pinch of salt, there could be some off-field issues with Wan Bissaka. I know Wan Bissaka isn't a Ten Hag player, and I know Dalot's been brilliant, but Ten Hag has tried to utilise every single Man United player in that squad. He's tried to utilise them all. Really try and make the most out of them all, give them all minutes. But Wan Bissaka doesn't want to go near. Because there are reports and rumours that Wan Bissaka has got a bit of a spoiled mentality, a spoiled attitude. I don't know if that's true. Again, take it with a pinch of salt. But Wan Bissaka was apparently a leaker last season. Wan Bissaka was apparently a problem causer last season. And Wan Bissaka doesn't have the mentality that Ten Hag potentially likes. And he's not a Ten Hag player. These are rumours. Take that with a pinch of salt. But it's very obvious Ten Hag doesn't want Wan Bissaka. Because Ten Hag said a club like Man United need 2 good fullbacks on both sides because we have a lot of games to cover. This is Ten Hag saying we need 2 good fullbacks on both sides because we have a lot of games to cover. Ten Hag has literally basically said, without saying it, without trying to hurt Wan Bissaka, publicly, I want a right back in January. This is what Ten Hag means. I want a right back in January. He's basically saying United need 2 good fullbacks on both sides because we have a lot of games to cover. We've got 2 good fullbacks on the left. We've got 1 good fullback on the right. Ten Hag's saying Dalot's playing all the time. We need depth at right back. Ten Hag is sending scouts to watch a right back. Ten Hag wants Wan Bissaka gone. Fabrizio Romano said Ten Hag wants Wan Bissaka gone. Ten Hag has told Wan Bissaka he's got to go. He doesn't rate Wan Bissaka. And Ten Hag's coming out publicly saying, I need 2 good fullbacks on both sides. I need a right back. You have Wan Bissaka, who played loads under Ollie. You had shouts to be in the English squad at one point. You don't even want to try him. You'd rather play Lindelof at right back. You'd rather play Malacia at right back. There's something going on with Ten Hag and Wan Bissaka. Wan Bissaka's gone. Wan Bissaka's done out here. And Ten Hag is desperate to get rid of Wan Bissaka because he wants to bring in Bayer Leverkusen star Frimpong. And Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that. And look, as IQ Insane says, what a waste of money. Man United spent £50 million on Wan Bissaka. £50 million on Wan Bissaka, a player that had a really good first season at Man United, but as soon as we started to play more attacking-based football, struggled. £50 million on Wan Bissaka for him to just basically whinge in the training ground. No, I always liked Wan Bissaka, to be honest. I thought he was a good player. I remember keeping Sterling in his pocket. But Wan Bissaka's just been responsible for dressing room issues, training ground issues, a lot of problems at Manchester United off the field, according to reports. He's not been good for United. He cost £50 million and he's not been able to get in the team for nearly a year now. And Ten Hag will play Lindelof at right back over him. And Ed Woodward spent £50 million on Wan Bissaka. To put that into context, £50 million on Wan Bissaka. Like, that is obscene. Dalot was less than half the price of Wan Bissaka, and Dalot's level was above. Malacia, a fullback, was £15 million. 50 million is crazy. That summer window, we spent £80 million on Harry Maguire, £50 million on Wan Bissaka, and £15 million on Daniel James. We did profit on. But to spend £130 million on Wan Bissaka and Harry Maguire, Ed Woodward should have had his head shoved down a toilet. Who in their right mind spends £130 million on Wan Bissaka and Maguire? That is English tax for you. This is why I don't like buying English players, because this is the English Premier League tax. It's an absolute joke. Absolute joke. £50 million. At least Ben White for £50 million is looking decent for Arsenal, and he's doing it at right back. It's crazy. He costs the same as bloody Haaland. Wan Bissaka, well, to be fair, Haaland will cost Man City like £300 million because of the wages and the add-ons and the bonuses. But that is mad. Lisandro Martinez we got for the same price as Wan Bissaka, I'm pretty sure. I think Lisandro Martinez might have been yet less. I sit there and I think, Ed Woodward, we are now crying to get rid of Wan Bissaka so we can bring in Frimpong. He's causing issues, but we spent £50 million on him. And the reason, and I'll tell you this now actually, remember how Ten Hag was looking to bring in Dest or a right back? Ten Hag was desperate to bring a right back in the summer. Ten Hag tried to get rid of Wan Bissaka in the summer, but he couldn't. Ten Hag wanted Wan Bissaka gone in the summer. Ten Hag got rid of Henderson. Ten Hag got rid of Baye. Ten Hag got rid of all the players he wanted to get rid of in the summer, apart from Wan Bissaka. And I heard a story, I heard a rumour. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard a rumour on the street that the board would not let Ten Hag sell Wan Bissaka because the board were going to be embarrassed if they couldn't get at least 20 million for Wan Bissaka. Apparently, the board were not up to selling Wan Bissaka unless they could get 20 million to make them look better. And no team was willing to offer us more than 10 million for Wan Bissaka. A player that's still got a few years ahead of him. A player that's, still, 25? Wan Bissaka got a few years ahead of him. A player that we signed for 50 million that's 25 years of age. No one was willing to give us more than 10 million for Wan Bissaka. And the board stopped Ten Hag selling Wan Bissaka and bringing someone else in because they thought 10 million for Wan Bissaka is embarrassing and they thought they could get more. I think the board have realised Wan Bissaka's finished, done out here, and they want to try and sell Wan Bissaka. In fact, Man United desperately want to sell Wan Bissaka in January, and Ten Hag wants to bring in Frimpong. But the board, according to rumours, actually stop Wan Bissaka going in the summer. Ten Hag never wanted to keep Wan Bissaka in the summer. Ten Hag was looking at Ten Hag desperately wanted a right back in. But Ten Hag was told, no, you've got to keep Wan Bissaka as well. And as Mark says, Frimpong will be an absolute total upgrade on Wan Bissaka. And I can't believe he started as a winger as well with an attacking ability. And Ollie was too nice. Ollie played Wan Bissaka every game for nearly 3 years and refused to give Dalot a chance. And when Dalot did get a chance, he was decent, but he wasn't right because he wasn't match sharp. The one thing that frustrated me about Dalot is he'd play and he wasn't 100% there because he wasn't match sharp. And Dalot, like Wan Bissaka would play all these games and Ollie would give Dalot an opportunity and Dalot was okay and then he'd continue playing Wan Bissaka. Ollie neglected Dalot for 3 whole seasons to stick with Aaron Wan Bissaka. You know, Ollie, I will say this, I like Ollie as a person. I mean, he caused United so many issues because Ollie refused to drop any of the players he brought. Ollie refused to drop Maguire, refused to drop Wan Bissaka after stinker after stinker after stinker, refused to make any changes because they were players he brought. And he was loyal to them, he stuck by them. But Ten Hag will drop anyone that's not good. Dalot is playing because he deserves to play. I'm sure if Dalot drops 4 or 5 stinkers in a row, you see Malacia go at right back, you see someone else at right back. You know, Maguire dropped a stinker and he was dropped. You know, McTominay had one bad game and Casemiro comes in. Fred doesn't start because he's had too many stinkers. You know, you've got Sancho had a stinker versus Chelsea. It's been dropped and he played Elanga over him. Ten Hag is like, nah, if you have a stinker, you're out. Ten Hag is very much like, if you play poor, if you have a stinker, bish, bash, bosh, you're done. You're out the side. But Ollie was like, nah, Wan Bissaka will never be dropped. Maguire will never be dropped. And he just killed off this side and he almost killed off Dalot. And it's just when you really think about it, it's absolute madness as well. We need a striker, CM, Declan Rice and Kane, said Alex. I think we need a ball-playing midfielder and a striker before anything and a backup right-back as well. We all know how Dalot's been this season. He's been absolutely brilliant. And Diego says, I think Wan Bissaka's high wages, not sure who could afford them. I know Palace won't pay his wages. I think Wan Bissaka will be good for a mid-table team like Palace, but again, the wages don't help as well. But Crystal Palace absolutely mugged us off for Wan Bissaka. Absolutely mugged us dry. I mean, Leicester still did the biggest robbery with Maguire. But if you're Crystal Palace, you sit there and want, we got 50 million for Wan Bissaka. If you're Leicester, you sit there and we got 80 million for Maguire. Teams actually rub United dry. And the thing that frustrates me about United is all these teams will like make us pay a fortune for their players. Ajax made us pay 100 million for Anthony. Yet we can't get 10 million for any of our players as well. Not only Wan Bissaka isn't a suitable player for us, the fact that he shows no intention to revive his career is a horrible part. He's earning a high salary, so why leave United? Wan Bissaka's giving me those Dele Alli vibes now, where he's made his money, he's got his, his lifestyle he wants, and he don't care anymore. You know, sometimes players are dropped and they're like, I want so much money, and I feel like they stop trying. Your Dele Allis, the attitude kind of goes. With Wan Bissaka, I feel like he just doesn't care. Like you see, like Rashford posting that he's working hard and all of that. I just see with Wan Bissaka, like he almost doesn't care. Like he almost doesn't like being at United. He's almost the type of guy that goes in because it's work and to train. You know, I don't know. Like obviously Wan Bissaka's not a social media kind of guy, and that's fine. And you know, but like I always see like the other players posting together and laughing and joking around together. I never see Wan Bissaka involved in that. And look, again, he's a quiet guy. He's not a social media guy, maybe. But he doesn't look like a guy that like loves being at United or will do anything for United. He seems like, I've got my money, I'm happy at United, I'm not in the side, but I've got my money kind of player. That's the kind of impression I get from Wan Bissaka. That's just an impression. That's not me saying anything factual stuff. But I just feel like Wan Bissaka's lost that desire. And I think Ten Hag, this is why Ten Hag doesn't have a liking to Wan Bissaka, is probably because Ten Hag is all about attitude. Ten Hag's biggest thing is giving 100% in training, attitude in training. Ten Hag loses it if he sees players not giving 100%. If Ten Hag thinks you're not trying, if Ten Hag thinks you're not giving 100%, this is when Ten Hag loses his mind in training. This is when Erik Ten Hag goes off on one. Like, how dare you rock up to training and not give 100%? How dare you, not try? How dare you not work for this badge? Erik Ten Hag is massive on what you do in training, the whole attitude things of training and all of that. And if you see Wan Bissaka kind of rocking up, like making all this money and acting like he doesn't really care, of course he's going to lose his mind, Ten Hag. Ten Hag, you can just tell that Ten Hag is fed up. He's fed up with Wan Bissaka and he desperately wants Frimpong in, which is going to bring me to what Fabrizio Romano had to say on the Wan Bissaka situation as well. Fabrizio Romano said that Manchester United's priority in the transfer window is to find a solution for Wan Bissaka and sign a new right back. You know, Ten Hag basically hinted after the West Ham game he wanted a new right back. Ten Hag literally said after the West Ham game, I want a new right back for depth. And Fabrizio Romano said yesterday, Manchester United's next priority in the winter transfer window is to find a solution for Wan Bissaka and to sign a new right back. Fabrizio Romano has also said that we sent scouts on multiple occasions to scout Jeremie Frimpong. Fabrizio Romano said that Ten Hag wants a new right back. Ten Hag wants a backup right back. Ten Hag views in January a backup right back and another striker as a must if Ronaldo leaves. According to Romano, that's what Ten Hag wants in January. Ronaldo goes, an attacker comes in. Wan Bissaka goes, a right back comes in. This just seems to be what Ten Hag wants in January. Then come the summer, Ten Hag will want another attacker, a ball-playing midfielder, and maybe centre back depth. But Ten Hag's priority from the man, Fabrizio Romano, is to find a solution for Wan Bissaka and sign a new right back. Even Romano has confirmed Ten Hag wants Wan Bissaka gone and a new right back in, and that is his priority in January. So all the rumours about Ten Hag and Wan Bissaka falling out and all of that definitely got some level of truth in it when Romano's saying publicly, yeah, Ten Hag's priority is basically get rid of Wan Bissaka. You know, it's clearly not working as well. Wan Bissaka was never a great footballer. Good athlete, yes, but not great footballer. Anyone thinking that English bias could have been a true quality defender? Yeah, I just think with Wan Bissaka, we massively overplayed because he was English. 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 helped Gakpo and Osimhen. I'd love Gakpo, I'd love Osimhen, I'd love Frimpong, I'd love Frenkie De Jong, and I'd love Diogo Costa. They're my 5 dream signings for United as well. Am I the only one that wants to sign Harry Kane? I would happily buy Harry Kane in the summer, because I still think he's got 3-4 years left in him. Top striker, would help in link-up play and score a lot of goals. But the thing about Harry Kane is his age, and because he's English, would be incredibly overpriced. If Man United could get Harry Kane for less than 50 million, I'll be all over it, people. Because he's like a Casemiro signing. Yes, he's past his best. Yes, he's not past his best yet, but yes, he's kind of getting to that decline period. But 50 million, you can still get 3 or 4 great seasons out of Harry Kane as well. If Dalot leaves next year, we're screwed. We are screwed. We do need to. United do need to hurry up and renew Dalot's contract because there's a lot of Spanish teams looking at him. What I will say about Harry Kane is Tottenham are a bit like United. They're very inconsistent. They don't always play the best football, but Harry Kane still bags goals. I mean, Harry Kane is the kind of player that would thrive at United, and a lot of people don't like Harry Kane because he's slow, he's English, he's not that kind of juju player, I guess. But I would take Harry Kane, just not for a crazy price tag at United. I think he's a guy, you see what he does at Tottenham in a negative, unsustainable system. He's a guy you put in Man United, Harry Kane, he'd score goals. Like, Harry Kane would bang for United. And I think Harry Kane, if he was going to move, he would probably go United or City because he's not going to go to another London club as well. But, guys, we're 105 likes, so let's push for 200 likes. So please do smash that like button if you have not already as well. And, of course, subscribe down below. And wow, Alice, you talk fast while reading comments. I do. I think I talk a bit too fast. I think we need a striker desperately. Can't depend on Lord Martial. I love Martial, but my God, he is one of the most unreliable people at Manchester United. He's always injured. But Martial is back and training people as well. I mean, we've got so many players injured. But I want to get into my next story as well. I want to get into what, obviously, Ten Hag has said on the United game. Ten Hag came out. I just want to also, just in case Graeme Souness is watching, which he's not, I just want to say this. Let me get this up on the screen, people. Erik Ten Hag spoke about Casemiro. For me, he is brilliant. You can see why he's won 5 Champions League trophies. You see it in every match, every training session, and I think he'll only get better. This is Erik Ten Hag on Casemiro. So Souness saying that Casemiro was lucky to be at Real Madrid. Casemiro wasn't good enough for Real Madrid. Souness saying Casemiro is a bang average player. Well, Ten Hag, an actual successful, good manager, not a little pundit like Souness, who's out of date, said that you can see that why Casemiro's won 5 Champions Leagues. He's brilliant. You see it every match because you do. You use your eyes. And Souness, Casemiro and Lisandro Martinez, who Souness has been slagging off, refuses to admit he was wrong and still says they're average, they've been nominated for Man United Player of the Month. Casemiro and Lisandro Martinez, they've been our best 2 players. So I think I would use your eyes, Graeme Souness. I think I would use your eyes. Because you know what? How are Liverpool doing, Souness? Pretty shit. Would Liverpool love Casemiro and Martinez right now? They would be thriving with them. You know what? The best thing about the Ten Hag era, we can see, you know what? It's brilliant. Going a little bit off topic. We can see right now, the Ten Hag era, that things are happening at United. As Gerard Romero would say, things are happening. But right now, things are happening at United. Ten Hag is building something special, and I can say that with confidence. We can see it on the pitch. We can see it in not just the spirit of the team, the fighting of the team, the attitude on the pitch, but we can also see this in the way that the team plays. We can see a Man United side playing and fighting together. A Man United side that seem happy to be together. A Man United side fighting for each other. A Man United side playing for the badge. You see the mental side of it. But then on the pitch, you see Man United playing good attacking football, dominating games. You can see Ten Hag is building something. He's building something special because you see his new signings all have a big part. I know it's too early to say, but this right now, it looks like could be United's best transfer window since 2007 when we signed Tevez and that lot. Like right now, look at how the new players are settling in. Wow, this could be our best transfer window since then. It really could be. It's too early to say though. But the new signings are settling in. The players, Rashford, Dalot, are improving. Ten Hag is building something. And the best part about it is while I can see Ten Hag building something special, Liverpool are falling right down. The timing of this is brilliant. The Liverpool era is coming to an end. The Liverpool side that was apparently better than the Man United treble winning side, despite only winning one major trophy. So this Liverpool side won the Premier League once, and this is the best. Remember, Liverpool fans said this Liverpool side is the best Premier League side of all time. Remember Liverpool. Remember this Liverpool side, the best Premier League side of all time. Only won one Premier League trophy. Only won one Champions League trophy. Scraped top 4 2 seasons ago. This all-time best Premier League side ever, Liverpool, and are now already falling off, probably going to finish 8th this season. But apparently that Liverpool side was better than the treble winning side. Interesting. And the best thing is while United are building and winning games, Liverpool are falling off a cliff. Liverpool are getting worse and worse and worse. And I sit here and I go, I'd have never said this at the start of the season. I'd have never said this in August. But Man United are finishing above Liverpool this season, people. And if someone had said to me in bloody June, bloody July, or bloody August, Ten Hag will finish above Klopp this season, Man United will finish above Liverpool this season, I would have said bloody bullshit. Not a chance. But Ten Hag might. He might. We're 7 points clear of them. We have got top 4 in our grasp. We've played all these difficult games. We're getting better and better by the game. Man United might and probably could finish above Liverpool. So while Ten Hag's building something brilliant, Liverpool are also falling off a cliff. The Devious Orange made a good point. Frimpong's made most of his games at right mid for Leverkusen this season. Suggests he can't defend. Man United do want Frimpong, but he's a very attacking fullback. But if you look at how far Dalot and Luke Shaw get up the pitch, Ten Hag almost wants a fullback that will be like a right winger as well. And yeah, I mean, it's absolutely insane. Just honestly, Lamar's contract's up this summer. If Bayern don't sweep him up, what do you think? I would take Lamar at United in a heartbeat. I think he's better than some of the players we have as well. And Souness is missing Pogba. Souness is going on Casemiro because he's missing Pogba. But I love that I can see Man United getting better and better and better. United going up and up and up. And as United are going up and up and up, they're getting better and better and better. Liverpool are going down. We should go for Victor Osimhen in January and sell Ronaldo to Inter Miami. Look, I mean, if that was possible, yes, but I think that's very unlikely. But the thing Victor Osimhen is an incredible player, absolutely incredible player, but he's not going to be available in January. He'll be available in the summer. And when he is available in the summer, he's going to be available for a bloody fortune as well. And Casemiro has proven he's one of the world's best DMs in the world. Big up Daniel, facts there as well. No talk of Declan Rice being world class until he switched from Ireland to England. Good player, but we're going to play England tax. Exactly. I like Declan Rice, but he's got that England tax on him as well. And Eriksen is playing amazing. I mean, all the new players are playing amazing at the moment. And Martial reports he's injured again. It's bad one. He broke a fingernail. It honestly feels like that at the moment. It feels like that at the moment as well. Neymar not happy in France. Look, I'd take Neymar at United. I would. I think Neymar's a fantastic player. But going into some more news as well, I want to get into the Rashford bit of the video about Rashford saying how Ten Hag's changed the mentality, how United is just a completely different place. And oh, for fuck's sake, come on, it's not going to load. Let me see if it comes up here. So Evra said today, a while ago, I met up with Marcus Rashford. I spoke to him for over an hour. He wasn't properly playing in the side at the time, and a lot of teams were interested in signing him, but he told me he'd never leave the best club in the world, Evra said. He then followed it up by saying, what was missing was him performing on the pitch, and I'm really pleased that he admitted that. Now he is a different mindset. I think he's solved the issues, and he's really enjoying football under Erik Ten Hag. But if I really look into what Patrice Evra is saying on Marcus Rashford and what Marcus Rashford said, is Patrice Evra said that Marcus Rashford knew when he saw him months ago that he was playing crap. and Marcus Rashford's unhappy. But apparently Marcus Rashford's mindset, even in January, February, March, when there were rumours of him leaving, apparently his mindset was he always wanted to get back and play for United and be at his best for United because he loves United. Apparently Patrice Evra said that was always Rashford's mindset, and Rashford knew he wasn't good enough. Rashford knew he hadn't been good enough, and Rashford wanted to do better. And Patrice Evra said, he's really pleased that Rashford's admitted he wasn't performing on the pitch, and now he has a different mindset. And Patrice Evra said, I think that, Erik Ten Hag solved the mindset of Rashford. And if you go back to what Rashford said, if you go back what I spoke about in my video earlier today, Marcus Rashford said, it's a completely different environment at United, which has contributed to his form. Marcus Rashford said it's much more positive at United now Ten Hag's come in. And I think when you really go back and think about it, and I said this in my video earlier, Marcus Rashford was so poor because the environment at United was so toxic. All the dressing room fights, all the dressing room leaks, all the toxicity going around at United, the beef, the fights, just the general toxicity at United did have contributions to Rashford's form as well. Rashford said, knowing the manager, he's not one to let us rest or anything. He'll make sure we keep pushing ourselves and pushing each other to keep improving. I just think the energy's a lot different, and that's the biggest thing. And Rashford said, I just think the energy's a lot different. That's the biggest thing. The energy is more positive. I just want to keep going and keep enjoying football and winning games. But Marcus Rashford's come out twice in the last week and just said the biggest thing for me is my mindset is different because the energy in and around United is different. The energy in and around United is better. And when you really think about it, how bad must have it been at Carrington for Rashford to want to leave? For Rashford, who loves United, a man born and bred, to want to leave Manchester United, how bad would it have been? How toxic would it have been? Ten Hag's done well to remove a lot of the toxic players from United. Ten Hag's done well to change the mentality of United. And Rashford's just saying the energy this season is so different to last season. The energy is so much more positive. I want to keep going. And Rashford's saying that a lot of this form has come down to mindset because the energy in and around United is so much more positive. Rashford's mindset overall is a lot better as well. IQ says Rashford was part of the chaos last season. It wasn't clear whether his attitude was awful. Rashford wasn't running. Rashford wasn't tracking back. And Rashford was a player that looked like he didn't want to play for United. But that was most of the team. 90% of the team, barring Ronaldo and De Gea last season, looked like they didn't want to play for United, and they weren't trying. But there was also external issues in the dressing room of bitterness, fighting. So whilst Rashford on the pitch was a disgrace, and so was most of the team on the pitch a disgrace, not running, not trying, in the dressing room where the toxicity really was, Rashford wasn't a part of that. What I'm saying is, the toxicity in the dressing room reflected on the player's mindset on the pitch. I'm not giving Rashford an excuse, but his mindset wasn't in the right place because the dressing room and training was so toxic. He was so unhappy at United. And Ten Hag solved the issues outside of the pitch, which means that the players go on the pitch with a better mindset. So players like Rashford, who were a disgrace last season, who weren't running, you can tell that, yes, he wasn't running, yes, he wasn't trying, yes, his head wasn't in the right place. But with Rashford, we always knew he loved United. You just knew his head wasn't in the right place. I always said this last season, with Rashford, you knew his head wasn't in the right place. He wasn't a player deliberately causing trouble. He wasn't a player leaking things. His head just wasn't in the right space. Whereas with other players, their head weren't in the right space, but you could tell they were just causing issues on and off the pitch. They were responsible for leaks, fights, dramas. Cavani complaining about training being too long and Cavani faking his injuries and all of that. I mean, that's when it was a disgrace last season. Cavani going to the boxing, faking injuries, complaining that Ragnic's training sessions were too long, couldn't be bothered. The leaks coming out from Bailly, the leaks coming out from Lingard. That was where it was a disgrace. Rashford not trying on the pitch is a disgrace, but he wasn't responsible for the toxicity off the pitch, is what I mean as well. And I really hope this season works well for Martial and Rashford. If they are more consistent and stay relatively injury-free, this duo is indispensable for squads for years to come. I agree. There's nothing I want to see more this season than, prime Rashford and prime Martial. Like, you guys know I love Rashford. You guys know I love Martial. You guys know that even last season when they both had a shocking season, I've always been following and backing Rashford and Martial. They're just two players I love and will follow too much to, not love. I am a Martial and Rashford fangirl. And I just, I'll follow them. I'll keep following them. I want them to do well. I've always rated them. I've always say be patient as a player there. And for me, if they can stay fit and they can continue this form, will be brilliant. Because I've always said with Rashford and Martial, when in form, they are good players as well. I think Erik Ten Hag wants Gakpo, and that could motivate Rashford, definitely. That could motivate Rashford. And Rashford's mindset is strong at United now under Ten Hag. He's improving game by game, exactly as Daniel said. United needs Sesko. I don't know if they need him just yet, but I think long-term he will be an option as well. And the Real Madrid sold Casemiro to get money after replacing him with a young, world-class player. Great business model for Madrid to get so much money for a 31-year-old. I agree, we gave Real Madrid a lot of money for Casemiro, but I think right now Casemiro has been just worth every single penny as well. And in the next 2 years, Martial and Rashford will be starting for United under Ten Hag. Hopefully, I see Martial and Rashford having a great future under Ten Hag at Manchester United as well. I mean, if we go back to what Marcus Rashford said and back to what we spoke about in the video earlier today, people, I'll get this up here for you. Rashford said, surrounding United, he said it's a completely different energy around the club and in the training ground. That puts me in a better headspace. I just feel motivated now. That was an area I was struggling with. Marcus Rashford came out publicly and admitted last season he wasn't motivated to play for United. For Marcus Rashford, he loves United, to not be motivated to play for United last season, there were some serious off-the-field issues. And Rashford said now it's a completely different energy in and around the club, in and around the training ground. That's put me in a better headspace, and I feel a lot more motivated now that the energy is so much better in and around the training ground. But I do sit here and go, how toxic must it have been for Rashford to not even be motivated to play for United? The club he loves. You sit there and think, shit, United were bad last season. There's a couple of things I want to clear up as well, people. Manchester United during the World Cup will have some friendlies on. So even though most of the players will be going to the World Cup, the players for Man United that won't be going to the World Cup will be, playing in friendly. So that will be your Donny van der Beeks, your Garnachos potentially. A couple of the youth players will be around. I'm not sure who will and won't be going to the World Cup. Majority of our players will be going to the World Cup. Scotland, Toney will be around. Donny will be around. Garnacho, I'd assume, would be around. Martial, I think, because he's injured, will be around. Sancho will probably be around as well. I think most of our players will go to the World Cup, though. I don't think Sancho will get called up. It'll be interesting to see. I think he'll call up Rashford because he's been good. Wan Bissaka will be around. Malacia will probably go. Maguire will go. Lindelof will go. Varane will probably go. Lisandro will probably go. But our players that aren't going will be, playing in pre-season friendly. So we will do watch-alongs and stuff for that as well, I think. Guys, keep smashing the like button. And, of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. Because I do go live every single evening, keeping you guys up to date on all the latest news and transfer news as well. IQ says Martial will play 25 minutes and get a 2-month injury again. The guy's made of biscuits. I feel for him. It feels like that. I generally feel like Martial's going to come on and get injured as well. And saw a rumour of Newcastle getting Moises Caicedo moving fast. I'm not sure. There are rumours about Moises Caicedo leaving Brighton, and I think Newcastle got the kind of money to spend big, get another midfielder in next to Bruno Ramirez as well. Be interesting. For good news, Palestri's agent came out today and said that Palestri will leave Man United, which is interesting. I mean, Palestri's been injured. That's why he's not playing. So I don't think Palestri can be annoyed at lack of game time when he only came back from injury about a month ago. Maybe Palestri will leave on loan, but I think a permanent move for Palestri, it's too early to say. And a really interesting thing that came out that I wanted to get into is basically Juventus complaining about Paul Pogba. Juventus complaining we gave them Paul Pogba. Former Juventus coach said behind the failure of the Juventus team is also poor performance of transfer campaign. Let's face it, if Man United gives away Pogba so easily, they have to know something about injury. Can you believe that? I feel sorry for Pogba. It's not going well at Juventus. But Juventus former coach is coming out and saying, oh, Man United gave Pogba away so easily. They must have known he was injured. Man United offered Pogba a new contract. He didn't want to stay. And Man United were like, fair, it's good riddance. You're injured. You've caused problems. You're inconsistent. Go. Ten Hag would have loved to have kept Pogba. Imagine Pogba next to Casemiro. That would have been beautiful. But Juventus obviously complaining about us giving them Pogba. You got Pogba on a free. We didn't give you Pogba. We didn't sell him to you. You got him on a fucking free. I can't believe Juventus are coming out complaining about us giving them Pogba. Pogba's got an injury. Pogba always has injuries. Pogba actually might miss the World Cup, which is something that, Pogba loves France. Whilst Pogba's attitude to Man United has been questionable, we know Pogba loves France. And I think Pogba would have been great with Casemiro. I think Pogba would have been great playing next to Casemiro. And I feel sorry for Pogba that he's injured, but Juventus is starting to get annoyed at Man United for selling them Pogba. We didn't sell you Pogba. He joined you on a free and you wanted him. It does make me laugh as well. Anyone who watches football knows Pogba's injury prone. He routinely misses half the season for the last few seasons. Yeah, Paul Pogba is incredibly injury prone as well. And Juventus got him on a free. So it was a good deal for Juventus, but he is always injured as well. Agreed with Rashford. He looks though he's working hard maths before kicking the ball. He looks more confident under Ten Hag. He does. The thing about Rashford is you could tell he was really trying this summer doing extra training camps to get back to his best as well. And I like that mentality. I think in Rashford and Dalot and a lot of Man United players, Ten Hag's come in and they're just trying to do anything to get back to their best. You can see them working incredibly hard, putting the extra hours in, putting the extra work in. But there's players like Wan Bissaka who haven't really got a chance under Ten Hag that look like they're not willing to do the extra hours, not willing to do the extra work. And one of the reasons I like Marcus Rashford is it's very obvious he was more than willing to put that little bit of extra work in. I think Maguire will be more than willing to put that extra work in as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Maguire does have a good few games. And Everett did say on Lisandro Martinez that that's what Harry Maguire needs, someone faster next to him who will go to war for him. Harry's a good player with the ball. The way he passes through the midfield can be great, but he can also go forward with the ball. And the one thing Maguire has over Varane is his ability on the ball. But look, I even think Maguire will come back a lot better. I think Maguire, questionable, doesn't have a winning mentality, but has a good work rate. That's why he's loved by so many managers. I think he will fight for his place under Ten Hag. I think like Rashford fought for his place, like Luke Shaw fought for his place. I don't know if the Wan Bissakas will. They look like they've given up already. And that's why I don't think Ten Hag likes Wan Bissaka. And I think that's why Ten Hag wants Wan Bissaka gone, because we know the biggest thing under Ten Hag is mentality. Ten Hag is massive on mentality. If you're not giving 100%, that is it. Like under Ten Hag, you are gone. I mean, Bruno said, Ten Hag's discipline is just a different level as well. Pogba is a curse to every team he goes to, witchy. It almost feels like that witch curse on Pogba work because he's always bloody injured as well. And I can't believe Juventus are actually complaining on getting Pogba on a free twice. It's actually crazy as well. And what position do you think Manchester United is weakest, and which player would you like to play if you could choose? I'd say strikers are weakest position because Ronaldo's past it and Martial isn't reliable, and I think Rashford is 10 times better on the left wing. I'd say right now, if I could sign anyone in the world for United, I'd bring in Osimhen. Without a doubt. I like Harry Kane. I like Ivan Toney. If I could click my finger and bring any player to United, I'd bring in Osimhen. Then the second player would bring in would be Frenkie De Jong. And then the third player I'd bring in would be a backup right back. And then the fourth player I'd bring in would be Gakpo. The fifth player I'd bring in would be Diogo Costa. And the sixth player I'd bring in would be another centre-back for depth. If I could click my fingers and bring in 6 players, that is what I would do. But for me, the priority would be a striker, most definitely. I know we need a backup right back, but I think just striker could just add so much to our game and the way we play. Pogba and Kante missing out on the World Cup is sad. Like Pogba and Kante missing out on the World Cup is sad, but at the same time, France have got Tchouaméni and Camavinga now. So while Pogba and Kante missing out on the World Cup is bad for France and it's sad, I do actually think that France have got this new young future World Cup team coming through with your Camavingas, and all of that. And I just think for me, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, I'd play Tchouaméni over Kante now. Oh, there's a fly on my screen. Fuck off, fly. But yeah, it's sad to be fair. Hopefully Varane will be back. Something about the France players getting injured. Reece James is injured. Hopefully Maguire will play for England. Not Maguire, Rashford. Hopefully Rashford will play for England. And what I was saying about Rashford is, for me, right now, Rashford should start for England. On current form, Marcus Rashford should start for England. That's my opinion right now, because Sterling has been crap. Foden is a good player, but he's crap for England. Anyone with eyes can sit there and say, Foden, yes, he's a good player. Foden for England, he's crap for England. He does not suit Southgate's system. He can only play in that one-dimensional Pep Guardiola system. So for me, it's Saka on the right and it's Rashford on the left for England. That is my unpopular opinion, that for me, Rashford starts for England during the World Cup. I don't know what you guys think as well. But please subscribe to Alice Talks Football and smash the like button as well. We're nearly at 53,000 subscribers. Guys, we're literally 80 subscribers away from 53k. So if you're watching right now and you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do go ahead and subscribe, because I will be live 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Remember, I go live every single evening on the channel, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more. So, make sure you subscribe to the channel, people, as well. Share the video and all of that as well. So big up everybody. And do you think Toney will get some game time against Villa with Bruno being benched? I'd like to think so, but you just never know with Toney. Whenever you think Toney's going to play, he doesn't play. And that's the annoying thing. So I do really like Toney. And Alice, what's your predicted lineup for tomorrow's game? I will be doing that tomorrow. I will be doing this tomorrow because I don't really know the team news yet. For Real Sociedad's game, which is Thursday. Real Sociedad's Thursday, right? I will do a predicted lineup tomorrow. I'll be live at 6 p.m. tomorrow to do my predicted lineup and match news ahead of Man Utd Real Sociedad. So, guys, I want to ask you all to smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. Of course, share the video. Bish, bash, bosh, everyone watching. Like, subscribe, share. Thanks for watching. Live tomorrow 6 p.m. Might be a morning video if there's news as well. So see you then and bye.